The trader you become. A letter from my future self. If you are listening to this, then I already know something about you. You are tired, not just from losing trades, but from fighting yourself, from promising discipline, then breaking your own rules again, from saying, tomorrow will be different, then watching yourself return to the same emotional habits, the same impulsive entries, the same revenge trades, the same widened stop losses, the same emotional exhaustion at the end of the day. I know how heavy that feels, because I was you. I remember staring at charts late at night, thinking success was somewhere hidden inside. Another strategy, another indicator, another entry technique, another market insight. I thought profitable traders knew something I didn't. I thought consistency would come after finding certainty, but I was wrong. The market was never the real battle. The real battle was the moment I wanted to betray my own rules. That was the battle, not the chart, not the setup, not the market. The moment I said, just this once, that single moment decided more of my future than I realized. Because self-sabotage rarely looks dramatic while it is happening. It looks reasonable, small, temporary, emotionally justified. This setup feels different. I'll just give it a little more room. I can make it back. I'm not really breaking the rule. That is how discipline slowly collapses. Not all at once, but through repeated emotional bargaining. And for a long time, I did not understand why I kept returning to old habits. I genuinely wanted to change. I told myself every day, no more revenge trading, no more overtrading, no more emotional decisions. And yet, under pressure, I still became someone else. Maybe you know that feeling. The strange experience of watching yourself break rules you fully understand, as if logic disappears once emotion enters the room. I used to think something was wrong with me, but eventually I realized something important. Trading is not simply a knowledge problem. It is a behavioral conditioning problem, because under emotional pressure, the brain seeks relief, not discipline. Relief. Relief from uncertainty, relief from regret, relief from loss, relief from feeling wrong. And once I understood that, everything started changing. Not immediately, slowly, quietly, painfully at times, because real change does not happen the way most traders imagine. There is no sudden transformation. No magical moment where discipline becomes effortless forever. At first, you still feel temptation. You still hear the voice, just this once. You still feel urgency. You still want to widen the stop. You still want to chase the move. You still want to recover the loss immediately. Those impulses do not disappear overnight. Even now, I still experience them sometimes. The difference is, they no longer control me automatically. That is what discipline actually became. Not the absence of emotional impulses, but the ability to stay aligned with structure while emotional impulses exist. That changed everything, because for years I thought discipline meant becoming emotionless. But profitable trading was never about removing emotion. It was about no longer obeying every emotion. That is a completely different life. And eventually, I started understanding something even deeper. Consistency is not built through motivation. Motivation changes too easily. Confidence changes. Emotion changes. The market changes. What actually changed my behavior was internal consistency. Repeated alignment between my decisions and my standards. Small moments where I wanted to break my rules and didn't. That matters more than most traders realize. Because every time you negotiate against your own rules, your brain learns, My standards are flexible under emotional pressure, but every time you stay aligned with structure despite discomfort, your brain learns something different. My behavior remains consistent even when emotion appears. That is identity formation. That is how traders slowly change themselves, one uncomfortable decision at a time. I know you probably want faster progress. I did too. I wanted certainty that I was finally changing. But behavioral conditioning does not disappear in one breakthrough moment. It weakens gradually, messily. Some days you improve, then suddenly relapse, then improve again, then break a rule again. That does not mean progress disappeared. It means you are still rewiring behavior under emotional pressure. And that takes time. Longer than most people want, but shorter than it feels while you are living through it. There was a period where I stopped focusing on making money entirely. That may sound strange coming from your future profitable self, but it changed everything because I realized my real problem was not strategy. It was behavior under pressure. So I made a different goal, not how much money can I make today, but can I follow my rules today no matter what? That became the mission. For one day, then another, then another. Sometimes I failed, but eventually something started changing internally. The emotional chaos became easier to recognize. The pauses became longer. The awareness became stronger. I started catching myself before impulsive behavior escalated. And slowly, discipline stopped feeling like punishment. It started feeling like self-respect. That was one of the biggest turning points, because before that, rules felt restrictive, like something stopping me from making money. But eventually I realized the rules were protecting me from myself. That is a very important realization. Most traders believe the market is what destroys them, but often, it is their inability to protect themselves under emotional pressure. That is why structure matters so much. Not because structure guarantees profits, but because structure protects behavior. I stopped trying to trade all day. I stopped chasing every session. I stopped believing I needed every move. Instead, I created boundaries. A structured trading window, specific setups, specific conditions, specific risk management, and something strange happened. The less I traded emotionally, the clearer I started seeing. Because constant exposure creates emotional exhaustion. The brain becomes overstimulated, impulsive, reactive. But structure creates intentionality, and intentionality changes behavior. I stopped asking, how many trades can I take today? I started asking, is this truly my setup? That one question filtered out so much emotional noise. And eventually, patience became easier. Not because I forced patience, but because I stopped living in constant urgency. That is another thing I want you to understand. You do not need every move. You do not need every breakout. You do not need every opportunity. The market will always create another trade tomorrow. But your psychology may not survive endless emotional chaos. Protecting your behavior matters more than catching every move. I know right now you probably still feel frustrated with yourself, maybe disappointed, maybe exhausted from repeating the same patterns. But I need you to understand something clearly. The fact that you struggle with temptation does not mean you are broken. It means you are human. Discipline is not never feeling emotional impulses. Discipline is choosing structure despite emotional impulses. That distinction changed my life, because once I stopped expecting perfection, I could finally focus on consistency, and consistency changes identity. Not immediately, but eventually. One respected stop loss, one avoided revenge trade, one moment where patience wins over impulse. Those moments matter enormously psychologically. Because every one of those moments is either reinforcing the old identity or strengthening the new one. That is why I eventually stopped obsessing over outcomes and started obsessing over alignment. Did my behavior align with my standards? That question became more important than profit, prediction, validation, excitement, because profitability eventually became a byproduct of behavioral stability, not emotional intensity. And strangely enough, the calmer I became emotionally, the more consistent my results became. Not because I controlled the market better, but because I finally stopped sabotaging myself. That was the real transformation. Not intelligence, not prediction, not brilliance, behavior. That is what changed my life. And eventually, something happened that I never expected. I started trusting myself again, not because I won every trade, but because my behavior stopped changing every time emotion appeared. That self-trust is priceless, because once you trust your own behavior, the market stops feeling like emotional warfare. You stop needing to force outcomes. You stop needing to chase. You stop needing constant stimulation. And slowly, trading becomes quieter internally, more intentional, more selective, more stable. That is when consistency truly begins. Not when you find certainty, but when your behavior becomes coherent under pressure. And if I could leave you with one final truth, it would be this. The trader you become is not decided in your biggest winning trade. It is decided in the small, invisible moments where nobody is watching. The moment you want to widen the stop and don't. The moment you want revenge and stop yourself. The moment you want to break your rule and still choose discipline. Those moments shape identity. Those moments shape your future. And one day, if you continue choosing alignment over impulse, you will look back and realize the consistent trader you were searching for was built one disciplined decision at a time. And when that day comes, you will finally understand. The market was never simply teaching you how to trade. It was teaching you who you become under pressure. And if this message stayed with you, then do not let it end as inspiration. Apply it, one rule, one decision, one disciplined moment at a time. And if you want more content like this, you can subscribe and continue the journey. Because the trader you become is decided one decision at a time.